Hello and welcome back to DMCA Chess Academy. This is Ritesh Mathew. Today we're going to learn a technique of how to checkmate a lone king if you only have king and a rook. In my previous videos, I had showed you how to checkmate against a lone king with your king and queen. So if you have a king and a queen, how to checkmate their king. In this video, we're going to learn if you have a king and a rook, how to checkmate the opponent's king. Now in the king plus queen, the technique that I had went over with you, it was fairly simple, and queen had to do like 90% of the job, and your king would just stay at one place until the queen has pushed the king on one of the four corners. So queen can do 90% of job with king plus queen. Not so with the rook plus king. The rook will have to stay along with your king because their king cannot attack your queen, but their king can attack your rook. And therefore, you have to be very careful, and always the king and the rook both will have to do the job if you want to checkmate. All right. So, and then I'm going to show you a couple of patterns how the final checkmate with a king and rook, how it would look like. So let's take a look at the first pattern. The first pattern is their king is on one of the four corners and your king is at like a knight's length and cutting off the two squares, which is g7 and h7, depending on which side of the board you have cornered the king. But if it is on this side, then g7, h7 will be cut off by your king, and the rook will occupy the 8th rank and checkmate the king. And the second pattern I want you to see is it looks like this. So again, king is on one of the four sides. So it could be either on the 8th rank or H file, first rank, or A file. And then both the kings are facing each other with one square in between. What this does is your king will cut off the three squares and their king cannot step down. So kings facing each other with one square in between, and their king is on one of the four sides. This is how it's going to look like. And then you can put your rook on the side of the board, whichever side their king is stuck on, and you can checkmate the king. So these are the two patterns that I want you to remember, and how to checkmate the king with your king and the rook. So let's begin the technique. So I've arranged this random position. I'm playing white, and my job is to checkmate the black king. So first, let me move my king because my king and rook are far away. They both need to be together and push the king on one of the four sides or one of the four corners in order for me to checkmate. So I'm going to move my king, and my engine is on, so I'm going to have the engine play. Let's see where he goes. Okay, he went on the side. So now what I can do is I can cut off the king's escape route and make his box. Let me just call it a box. So let me shrink his box. Okay, so I want to make sure that I make the king's box smaller and smaller. It should keep shrinking all the time as much as possible. So first things first, I'm going to cut off the king's path, right? So he's confined to only this area of the board for now. So somewhere in this range. All right. So let's see where they move. Okay, they moved up. Probably I can move my rook somewhere here. My objective is for my king and rook to come together and stay as close as possible. So see how he attacked my rook right now. So let me move my rook somewhere close to the king. Okay, now he attacked the rook again. So obviously I want to leave my rook here because I want to shrink the box of their king. So their king cannot escape out of this imaginary box right here. Okay, so this is the box. Okay, all right. So I'm going to, first things first, I'm going to save my rook, obviously, otherwise he's going to capture. Now, since his king moved on the side, can I make the box smaller and shrink it by putting my rook here? Yes, because my king is supporting my rook. So I'm going to cut off the box. Okay, can I still move my rook and cut off this file now? Yes, because my king will support the rook on this square. So as long as my king can support, I'm going to make sure that his box keeps shrinking. Now he went down. Can I move my rook here and cut off this rank also now? And the file is already cut off. No, because on this square I don't have the support of my king. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move my king down in order for me to get that support. Okay, he moved the king down, so I can move my rook down one square, so his box is even smaller now. The box is shrinking for the king. Let's see what they move. They moved up, so I can just waste one move because I don't want to leave the rook. I want to keep this cut off. F file and 5th rank. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move my king down. Okay, he moved his king down. Now can my rook make the box smaller? Yes, he can, because I have the support of the king. So yes, the rook can cut off the 4th rank also now. The F file is already cut off. So let's cut off the 4th rank now. Let's see where they move. Okay, they moved on the side. However, now I cannot cut off the G file because the king will attack my rook. So let me just move my king down and let's see what he does. Okay, now he moved to G2 square. Now I can see another opportunity where I can move my rook to the 3rd rank and cut off a little more. Okay, so now the king's box has shrunk quite a bit. Now he's confined only to these 3 squares now, and my rook is supported by the king, so I'm not afraid. So let's see where they move. Okay, they moved down, so I still cannot cut off this 2nd rank because I'm not getting the support of the king for the rook. So let me just move my rook in that case, my king in that case. Let's see where they move. They moved here. Now I want to leave my rook here because it's supported by the king. I want to keep the 3rd rank and F file still cut off. Okay, so I'm just going to move my king down. Okay, now they moved their king on the G1 square, so that means that I can cut off the 2nd rank now. My rook is supported, so the only place he can go is to the H1 square. Okay, so from this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the rook here, okay, and then move my king, because if you remember the pattern, I want the kings facing each other, right, and then the rook can checkmate. So if his king is on G1, I want my king to be on G3 so I can checkmate the opponent. So let's move the king. So obviously he only has one spot to go. So now I'm going to move my king here, right? Now he can only go to H1, right? Now at this point, I can just checkmate by putting my rook on the F1 square because his king has been cornered. Our king is cutting off these 2 escape squares, okay? So here we go. Here, this is the checkmate, okay? Now if you recall, the pattern that I had showed you was their king is on one of the 4 corners, and our king is at the knight's length as if the knight is checking the king, and the rook is going to go on the side of the board to checkmate. I hope you remember this pattern. Let me show you very quickly here. That's the one, right? So in this one, his king was on H8 square, right? But in our pattern, the king is on the H1 square, but the pattern still remains the same. All right, so this is an easy technique. Make sure that the king and the rook both go hand in hand, and you corner his king on either one of the 4 corners, okay, one of the 4 corners, or you want to push his king on one of the 4 sides. That's the whole idea. That's how you're going to checkmate, because if you remember the king plus queen checkmate, then the opponent's king cannot stay somewhere in the middle of the board because he has too many escape squares. King can escape to 8 squares if he's somewhere in the center of the board. So that's the reason why you want to push him on the edge of the board or one of the 4 corners. So since it's a simple technique, I hope you liked it, and practice a few times with king plus rook against a king. So thanks for watching, and keep watching my channel Chess Melody for more chess and music videos. Thank you so much.